I could literally stand here and tell kiddie porn jokes for the rest of the night, but I'll just pick a few that I like the best. First of all, I have like 75. Where was Stone Phillips when I needed him? I literally had to catch a predator in and around me for 6 months, and Dateline was nowhere to be found.
Right?
Secondly, I kind of like to wonder sometimes what kiddiepornsmatch.com profile says. Interests include randomly showing up at high school basketball games. Water sports. Lucky for me, I bumped into kiddie porn many times in the last few months because someone's ears must have been burning. And I'm happy to report that he is working again in the orchestra of a very popular Broadway show. Now, I am not at liberty to divulge what show that is, but I will give you one hint. The story takes place on the west side of Manhattan. And is currently playing at the Palace Theatre. Fucking, he's a douchebag. You know what? That is all like public knowledge. So if you want to look it up, I'm sure half of you know him, or I've slept with him, so we'll talk some shit afterwards. I have so many jokes, like why isn't he working on Billy Elliot? Oh, all this little twist. I can go on for hours. I think he's the most disgusting person I have ever. Kevin. What?
Well, nothing. We were just laughing because we thought kiddie porn would be a really good drag queen name.
You two kids. Moving forward, I then dated a guy named Kevin, who had the most offensively small penis I had ever seen on a woman. After I decided that I was capable of dating a man whose penis was smaller than my 6-month-old nephew's, I soon found out that he was actually in a 9-year relationship with a beast of a man named Timmy. Like 450, I'm not even kidding. After Kevin, I met a man who would forever turn me off dating men altogether, Dr. Jake. I met Dr. Jake at the height of my drinking. At that point, my life had pretty much turned into the MTV Beach House. I was constantly drunk, and my top was constantly off. So, when Dr. Jake strolled into my life, I jumped on the opportunity to date him. And what was not to love? He was a doctor, a therapist for the army, and married to a woman. Red flag. It's like communist Russia. Daenerys, eat your fucking heart out. You can't go over shit like that. So not only was I in no position to like become an army wife, I was literally hammered all the time. I really can't stress that, but I think you guys grasp it so far. And when you were as drunk as I was and had the self-esteem of a teenage rape victim, you were literally one, and that's exactly what I did. But when I finally decided to put my booze cruise in dry dock and stop drinking, Dr. Jake was the first to tell me that what I was doing was a bad idea and that he didn't think that I needed to get sober. This was, of course, after I tried to crawl through his window to get into his apartment because I was too drunk to find the door. Once I got to AA, I made friends. Well, not so much made friends as cast a musical in my head. Spencer, you could be laughing a little bit more. I believed that everyone was more interesting with the backstory that I had provided for them, so I made it through the day calling everyone names I made up for them, like Bunny McDougal, Palmer Portland, and of course, Little Orphan Annie. God love her, she showed up every day. However, Dr. Jake lingered. When I stopped drinking, I told Dr. Jake that we could still be friends, even though at that point we were no longer dating. But how could we still be friends when seeing him only broke my heart again? And there was nothing I could do about it. So to read the next it's terrible pausing. To read the next excerpt from my book is a very special friend. Not like special friend, or like special friend. He wrote the musical Glory Days that played on Broadway and starred simultaneously in the musical Crybaby, and I think he may be the only person to ever do that, which makes him pretty fucking amazing. Please welcome Nick Blaemire.
Blaemire. And may I say, Mark, you are one brave motherfucker. Okay, so.
Day 20. Hey Mark, how's it going? Dr. Jake said on the phone. I know I had told Dr. Jake that I wanted to stay friends with him, but I really didn't mean it. He pissed me off, and the fact that he did not have to go to AA aggravated me even more. Nothing much, just getting along. You? I'm okay. I'm just actually asking to call. I'm actually calling you to ask for a favor. What is it? Well, I'm going to come out to my parents, and I wanted to see if you had any pointers on it. He'd already, at this point, told his parents that he was going to get a divorce from his wife over the summer. Now, I suppose that he felt it was time for him to bust out of the closet and tell us that he was gay. I didn't really see the need for him to do that, because as far as I was concerned, Dr. Jake was living in a glass closet anyway. I don't know what you want me to tell you, I said. I've been dealing with sobriety and my own problems, and I really didn't have any pearls of wisdom to share with him. You know that our time together is very special to me, and that's why I'm asking you for your help, he said in a very shaky voice. I figured something was up. Well, what were you doing in New York? I questioned, changing topics abruptly. Do you really want to know? He asked. Well, if you did not want me to know, then would you not have posted on Facebook that you were in New York, would you? Checked me. I am seeing someone in New York. I paused. How in 20 days had Dr. Jake managed to find a boyfriend? I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm so much better looking than him. Also, to not have the baggage of an estranged wife and the army hanging over me. Just alcoholism. What? I asked. I knew I shouldn't have told you. I did not mean to hurt your feelings, but it just happened that I thought you moved on anyway. Your Facebook status said you got busy in a Burger King bathroom. Those are the lyrics from a Humpty Hump song, you fucking moron. I paused. So let me get this straight. I cleared my throat in anticipation of bombarding him with the insults that I had planned for him. Then I remembered a previous conversation a few weeks back when Dr. Jake asked me where to go out in New York. So you not only asked me where to take your new boyfriend out in New York, but now you're asking me to help you come out to your parents. Are you fucking kidding me right now? It's just, you're a fucking douchebag, Jake. I cannot believe that you're doing this right now. You know I need as little stress in my life as possible, and you are just one constant source of it. I need your help. Well, why don't you ask your new boyfriend, you horse's ass? It's just, you mean so much to me, and fuck you. If I meant anything to you, you would not be having this conversation with me right now. You were so inconsiderate. It's almost as if you want me to get drunk and come crawling back to you. There it was. Truth. There was no way you could hide from me now. Jake was such a mess that he needed someone to be as big of a mess as he was to make himself feel better. I was no longer a possible candidate for this position. I could see now that what Jake was doing, and I could no longer be a party to it. I was not going to be his punching bag anymore. Dr. Jake continued on until I finally interrupted him. Listen, you son of a bitch, if I ever hear from you again, I'm going to come to your house with a baseball bat and beat the living shit out of you. I screamed into the phone and hung up. He should have known that was an idle threat, as I have never once played baseball in my life, nor will I ever play baseball. I was pacing my living room, not knowing what to do. I wanted to drink so badly, but I knew that was exactly what Dr. Jake would have wanted. He wanted me to drink and lose this battle I was fighting against my demons. Instead, I chain smoked a few cigarettes and after a few moments, I realized that I had the strength I had not had before. I was like Gloria Estefan. I was coming out of the dark. My feelings for him were gone, so what difference did it make? Had this conversation taken place a few weeks ago, I would have opened a bottle and begun a drinking binge that would have lasted for days. I was not going to be Blair Kramer any longer. Blair Kramer is a character on One Life to Live who always went back to her husband Todd even after he raped someone, killed someone, almost raped someone again, stole Blair's baby, made him think he was dead, almost kidnapped his own daughter's baby, he raped himself, and then pretended to have multiple personalities. No matter what, Blair always went back to Todd. I was not going to be Blair any longer. I was going to be strong, like her aunt Julian. She didn't put up with shit from anyone. I was not going to let someone else's actions make me weaken. I was strong now. I could take down an entire corporation.